everyone. Quick one from me before we get started today. One of the reasons you might be listening to this podcast is because you feel slightly lost or a bit stuck in life. Over the last 18 months, I've been building a self-led ebook course for you based upon overcoming this feeling. It might be that you are frustrated that you're on this hedonic treadmill of life, despite the fact you've been working on yourself for a while, and with experience should come answers. Or simply put, you're just not where you thought you'd be at this point of your life, and this makes you unhappy. Well, this is where it all changes. You take control of what you can whilst enjoying the ups and downs of life, with the peace of mind that you're doing everything you can to work towards what matters to you. I can remember feeling lost and stuck in jobs and with life in general. All the self-development content out there telling you how to become successful when all you really need to do is find out what success means to you. So, start with this ebook course that I've created for you. 30 days of you taking the time to focus on yourself. Not rushing, not living up to anyone else's expectations, just you getting closer to who you want to become and the life you want to live. Check it out in the show notes and enjoy the show. Hello everyone, and welcome to today's episode of the Self-Improvement Project. That's just been going almost a year and a half now. Obviously, it's just started the twice a week this month, which is good. Kind of leads me nicely to today's topic as well, which I'll introduce shortly. However, I hope you have all had a nice new year. I was chatting with a friend earlier and we were talking about how just naturally, even though you're probably quite a motivated person, that this time of year can provide you with inspiration for no particular reason, which is good. So act upon it. Something I've mentioned before is that this motivation and inspiration has a sell-by date. It's perishable. It's something that you need to act upon to create something, or it disappears. Something I've done previous episodes on is that, and also trying to create a system for that. So whenever this motivation creeps up again, what system do you have in place to make sure that you take action on it to build for the future? Anyway, enough waffling. If you've signed up for my newsletter each Sunday, I hope you've been enjoying that. Only with a nice warm cup of coffee, how it is intended to be read. Today's episode is called Rest. This is being provoked kind of by the time of year, and also just by intuition and things I've been attracted to. As you might be aware, or maybe not, I am, by the time this comes out, will be 30 years old. And throughout your 20s, it's a bit of a challenge, game, dance, trying to strike a balance between understanding how much effort to put into things. There's obviously required effort for things such as mastery, time spent on something to understand how much you enjoy it, but also there's things such as effortless or effortlessness, where you do something without thinking, and the element of flow, and is that work, or is that rest, or is that play, or what is it? So to hone in on today's topic around rest. It's something that I feel is important to talk about because the world that we live in prioritizes the opposite. You are a workhorse. You are in a society where you feel obliged to work more than rest. And as a devil's advocate, I want to promote the idea of prioritizing rest over work. This is to challenge your thinking, this is to provoke your thought around this, to make sure that you are aware of it, and your natural inclination will be, despite even listening to this for a little bit, your natural inclination will be to fall back into your environment, that society that tells you to work more. So this is to balance that out. Resting is the catalyst for everything introspective. A lot of the content I create and deliver for you is about our internal state, our internal work that we need to do. And rest is, like I say, the catalyst, the key ingredient to allowing us to do optimal internal work. There's a really good book that I'm a way to delve into. If you're watching this on YouTube, you'll be able to see it. It's called Rest, and it's by Alex Pang, if you just look that up. This is something I'm going to be diving into. I've dipped in and out of it without much structure recently, but looking forward to sitting down formally. That is the element of rest that I'm talking about to help with our introspective work. On the flip side, for our external work, this is things like our job and our career and the hours that we put into this. You could argue to an extent anything status based, which could relate to your social life as well. Common content around that is, your introvert and extrovert work, where what are you more naturally inclined to? As an extrovert, you'd love being around other people and love being busy, as opposed to an introvert who, when you spend too much time in a social setting, you need to withdraw and spend time by yourself. Or there might be an in-between. I think one time I heard of that being called an ambivert, which I think a lot of people feel like they fall into that category. Anyway, our job and our career, maybe our status side of things, is our external work. Potentially even looking at things such as influence, emotional intelligence, common self-development, reading books. These things can contribute towards this external work, this exterior that you are creating. However, there is not enough rest to help us develop on the inside as well. Now, don't get me wrong, this is going to be more swayed towards that introspective work. A lot of the stuff I do is more swayed towards that from a biased point of view, but we need both to benefit most. You, if you are like me, more inclined towards the internal work, you need to do more work on the external work. If you are more external, more of an extrovert, you need to spend more time doing internal work to benefit most, to get the most out of yourself, to get the most out of situations. That extrinsic external drive to be happy and to have lots of friends and to have lots of money always feels empty because you've not done the introspective work. You've not got comfortable with yourself. And an interesting point that I've come across is like I mentioned earlier, I'm going into the next decade of my life in my 30s, and there's definitely been times in my 20s when this would have been really relevant. This would have been really helpful. And not to scare you or make it daunting at all, but the fact of the matter is that everyone needs to go through it. Everybody needs to figure this solution out the hard way, the difficult way. They need to go through working too much, suffering from burnout to really understand and prioritize what matters to them in life. To truly understand how effective, impactful, and important creating rest points in your life is. So you might be in the middle of it just now, but the important thing is not about trying to avoid the burnout, trying to avoid the hard work. The important thing is the lesson it's trying to teach you. The important thing is you going through that, persevering, showing resilience, maybe ending up in a gutter for a wee bit, to then learn the importance of rest. It's almost like one of these lessons that life is trying to teach you. There's also a whole different element to rest, and you've maybe experienced this before if you've had a bit of prolonged time off, and it is simply that creativity. I think during the lockdown of COVID, when people had a lot more time to themselves to think, to analyse, to assess their life, it's created all of these creative outlets, whether it be a creative business, whether it be a creative project, whether it be some more creative time to benefit things in your life that were maybe a bit stagnant. And by resting and having that bit more time to yourself, it actually allows your outputs to be better. It's also important here to think of the long term aspect of you thinking how you want the rest of your life to look. And this is where, the obvious top 10 regrets in my life was working too much. And this is it trying to tell you, from a long-term point of view, you feel guilty for scheduling in rest points. But if you're going to live a good life, how are you supposed to do that if you don't schedule it in? How does your long term look if you are not prioritizing this? Again, it comes back to this external view of how you are perceived. You might look really admirable to people that you don't like or care about, but for you, it's your life. Schedule in that rest so that you can be more creative. You can enjoy the simpler things introspectively that matter to you. And you can look back on your life thinking, I've lived a good life. And that's us today. Certainly hope you enjoyed that. I did. I definitely feel like I'm rambling a little bit more now. I don't know if it's a comfort and validation that I have with it, or whether it's me just enjoying the topics that I'm talking about more and more. Anyway, like I said, if you want to enjoy your Sunday mornings a wee bit more, feel free to sign up to the newsletter. At the end of January, I'm releasing a short course that I'm excited to share with you about becoming unstuck in 30 days. So I hope that is of benefit to you. I know I don't do a lot of written stuff, but I'm trying to increase that a little bit more to push myself. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed that. Let me know how you found it. Reach out to me on the emails, and I will see you all next time. Cheers. Hey guys, me again. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and if you're not ready for the Becoming Unstuck in 30 Days self led course quite yet, why don't you try my free ebook I created? 5 simple steps to improve yourself and your life. I made this during the very first lockdown of the pandemic in the early days of the Self Improvement Project. It's a quick go to when you're feeling unsure of what to work on when improving yourself or your lifestyle. And a great starting point if you're trying to figure out how to live a more fulfilling and simple life. The link for this will be in the show notes for you. Have a good one.